Hello and welcome to ElectroTechTips. In this video I will show you how to measure correctly with a digital multimeter. Universal digital multimeters generally measure electrical resistance measured in ohms, alternating voltage measured in volts, direct electrical voltage measured in volts, alternating current measured in amperes, the intensity of direct current measured in amperes, semiconductor diodes, the electrical capacity of capacitors, the amplification factor of bipolar transistors, and temperature. Generally, multimeters have three inputs. This one has four where these test leads are attached. COM is the common input ground, negative connected to the black probe. Volts ohms is the input for the red probe. It is used to measure voltage, electrical resistance, and if specified to measure weak currents of up to 200 milliamps. 20 amps maximum is the input for the red probe and is used to measure currents up to 20 amps. Milliamps is the input for measuring weak currents up to 200 milliamps. Let's move on to practical tests. How do we measure AC voltage? We attach the probes in the correct positions for voltage measurement. Respectively, the black probe to the COM terminal and the red probe to the volt-ohm terminal. Next, we move the position of the selector to where the letter V is written, from volts with the sine wave symbol or ACV. Always when measuring, we set the selector to the highest scale for multimeter safety. In this case, on the scale of 700. Then, seeing what voltage we have, we can move the selector to a lower scale. Respectively 200 for better accuracy. But not lower than the measured voltage. How do we measure direct voltage? For the test, I randomly chose two batteries. One 9 volt and the other 1.5 volt. We leave the probes in the same terminals, then move the selector position to V from volts with the continuous line symbol or DCV. In this situation, knowing the values of the voltages we have to measure, we move the selector to the scale of 20. In your case, if you do not know the value of the direct voltage you have to measure, move the selector to the highest position. How do we measure an electrical resistance? The probes remain in the same positions, but we move the selector to the area with the omega symbol. For the most accurate measurement, do not hold both hands on the resistor terminals. If we see on the multimeter screen that the value is after the decimal point, we must move the selector to the lower scale. And if we see the number 1 in the measurement, we have to move the selector to a higher scale. How do we measure alternating current intensity? The black probe remains in the same position, but we insert the red probe into terminal 20A. We turn the selector to the area with the symbol A with the sine wave symbol. On the scale of 20 in the present case. The measurement of electric current is made in series with a consumer. As in the video example. How do we measure the intensity of direct current? For this test I randomly chose a 9-volt battery and a resistor as a consumer. The probes remain in the same positions as with alternating current. Instead, the selector position will rotate to the area where the letter A is inscribed with a continuous line symbol or DCA. Of course, as in the previous case, the measurement is made in series with a consumer. How do we measure semiconductor diodes? The probes will move to the positions related to voltage measurement, and we turn the selector to the position with the diode symbol. The diode has two terminals, called anode and cathode. The cathode being marked many times with a white line. How do we measure the capacitance of capacitors? In the present case, we will not use the probes to measure the capacitors. There is a special slot on the multimeter. We turn the selector to the area where it is marked with the letter F from farad, being the unit of measurement of capacitors. I randomly chose two capacitors. One electrolytic and the other ceramic. The measuring method is almost the same as in the case of measuring resistors. We will choose the largest scale, then rotate the selector on the smaller scale until we have a value as accurate as possible. When measuring the electrolytic capacitor, we do not forget to discharge it with a power resistor. If you like this short clip, don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. Have a good day.